How's it going, guys? Got some TCGO here versus a guy by the name of sentinelx, I think that was his name. But I'm using the Dynamo deck, and I've made a couple modifications to it. I actually added Hydreigon in here thanks to his pokey body, pokey ability thing that turns all energy attached him to dark. And, just because of the general efficiency of electric, I figured, that'd be a good idea. So, I think this was before I got all those rare candies, or maybe I'm just running one in this deck. I don't remember, but it turned out to be a pretty good game. And as you can see, my hand that I actually draw into first is not too shabby, because I get a Zekrom. I also get a Pokemon Collector. He goes first, and I kind of see what deck he's running. I see Bellsprout, so I'm thinking maybe he might be running Leafeon and stuff like that, and possibly Rose Red, for status conditions and whatnot. He's probably running one of those decks, but I would have to see more to understand what's going on. All I know is that I got a Zekrom. That doesn't really tell him anything about the kind of deck I'm running, but I don't know. It's a good start. So he's going to go ahead and become out the Acceligor. He's probably going to grab himself a Shelmet or a Petalil. I think those were the other evolution chains he had going on in this deck of sorts. But while he's setting up, I'm guessing my main plan right here is I think I'm just going to get a Pokemon Collector, or I'm going to use the Pokemon Collector in my hand, probably put down two things, P-Com one of them, and then get an evolution going. But I forget what I get. Looking at it, it looks like I only have one Dano, and like the other ones are prized, but I'm going to get a Dano, a Tynamo, and a Cleffa. And I guess a good strategy of mine would probably be, I guess I'm stalling for some reason. I have no idea why. Why am I not putting the other things down? I'm just ending my turn. No. I get it. Okay, so I'm going to P-Com out the Cleffa for the Zweilous, and then I'm going to Junk Arm two of those energies out because I can get them back. And then I'm also going to go ahead and do the... and I draw into another Tynamo here first off, but it does mean that I'm able to P-Com out the other two and then Junk Arm the electric energies because I know I can get them back later, and then I can get my Hydreigon going pretty soon. I mean, I was just kind of more focused on not necessarily trying to kill him and just be like, oh, I want to get this Hydreigon set up as soon as possible just to see how efficient it is with this deck, So I do get it evolved the second time, and then I can Junk Arm out the remaining energies, and I try to go for the double hit. It could have killed him off, but it didn't. I was really hoping that it would because he's only got 40 HP. But if he evolves it, then we will just be in trouble, and I'm not a big fan of that. But I think he just Professor Oaked right there, decided to get a new hand. Also uses a potion too, just to be a fucking dick. If I pull two heads on this next one, then hey, that's great. But he uses a plus power, just to do 30 damage and then things, and then it turns out I actually draw into the Hydreigon, so I don't even need to do this stuff. But what I'm gonna do is I'm not gonna lie, that was actually pretty fortunate to draw into that when I did, but I'm gonna retreat and just get all those energies off of it, and I really need a new hand right now. I don't want him getting set up too soon, and if I need switches, then I have a switch, but this hand I'm working with right now is not really that good either, so I can start building up Zekrom and hope he doesn't bring Hydreigon out again, because it's not going to be ready, or even close to ready until I can get two electrics going at the very least. I think I only run two in this deck, and I probably could be running more if I took out some other trainer cards or things like that. I already feel like I have too many basic Pokemon lines in this deck as is. So he wakes up my Cleffa, by confusing it and other things, which is actually what I wanted because his other thing can paralyze and poison, but because he confuses it, I'm actually able to retreat, because I don't have a retreat cost or anything like that. So my plan right now is I can go ahead and P-Com out the Lantern in my hand to get a basic Pokemon going onto the bench. It's more than likely going to end up being another Tynamo or a Chinchou, and then I can Professor Oak out for a new hand, and that will be fantastic. Okay, I guess I just get the electric so I can start getting energy back. That's also a good play too. I had a couple options at this point in this game. But I'm going to start building up that Zekrom because Hydreigon's not doing so good on energy, and then I'm just going to go ahead and Professor Oak, get myself a new hand, see if I get into something nice. So I do get another Tynamo, I also get a Chinchou, and I also get a P-Com, so if I want to get the second electric going over the Lantern, I have that option, and I think that's what I'm going to end up doing anyways, just so I can start building up that Chinchou that much faster. But I can't evolve it until next turn. I'm going to guess that the card in his hand is not an N, so I don't necessarily have to fear that. But he is going to switch out, and then he's going to use, I think Bellsprout has this attack that it kind of acts like a catcher. So he's going to do that, more than likely end up bringing my Hydreigon or my Electric in, just to disrupt me a little bit. So I do run 2 Hydreigons in this deck, 2 or 3, something like that. But now that I got both the electrics up, I'm sitting in a pretty good spot. So what am I doing? I guess I'm looking to see if I use that switch I had from earlier. And it turns out I didn't, because I would really like to get that Hydreigon out of the lead spot. But I can't. So the best thing I can do, though, is I can just use Electric's ability to put 2 more electric energies on Chinchou and things, and then I'm just going to leave that thing in for dead. It will give him the early lead, but I think I run twins in this deck too, so that'll actually help me pick out what I need sooner. And that's pretty awesome. So he's going to go for the corrode thing, I think. I think that's what it is. But he gets to pick a card from my hand if he gets heads and then discard it. So it's whatever. Anyway, my turn again. Just going to go ahead and put some energies down on electric. This match is like kind of old. I'm sorry if I'm like not doing too stellar with this narration. I'm a little bit distracted at the moment and stuff. But I took it like last week or something like that. I took a lot of these matches last week, so they're not too fresh in my mind. But I'm going with it, you know, for ad-libbing. Yeah, that's about as good as it's going to get. But I figure since he's not really doing that much damage to me, and he can try poisoning me and then doing the corrode target and stuff. But if I end up discarding, if I end up losing that Hydreigon, I can very easily get that energy back with the electric. So what he's going to do is he does get the head on that attack, so he's able to pick out a card. If I were him, I would have picked the Junk Arm, and he does pick the Junk Arm, so he's playing pretty good right now. What I decide to do as well, I'm going to start putting an energy on the electric, just in case he decides to try to bring those out with another Bellsprout or anything like that, just so I can pay the retreat cost and stuff like that. So not that big a deal. But what do we got going on? I had a message I had to check real quick. Decides to go for corrode target again. Until I can get this thing out of here, I'm kind of stuck. But I do have a Sharon, so I'm kind of hoping that I'll draw into a switch or something, and I do, which is amazing. It means that I don't lose Hydreigon right off the bat, and I might get some use out of it. No promises there, so I don't really remember, but I'm just going to start putting energy on it. And decide to eke out for a new hand as well. His hand is a little bit stuck, but he hasn't killed anything of mine off, which is probably... that kind of sucks, just because, you know, I'm not able to use both of the twins that I have in my hand, meaning that I'll probably end up junk arming them for a PCOM for a Lantern. I think that's what I end up doing next turn. Or I decide to use Pokemon Collector to get more cards to junk arm away to do that. Okay, that makes sense, but it turns out I only have the one Chinchou left as a basic Pokemon in my deck. Probably the other Dinos. I keep saying Danos, even though I know it's Dinos, but I'm going to go ahead and junk arm out both of those guys, get a PCOM, and then I'm just going to go ahead and fucking PCOM out this Hydreigon, get myself a Lantern, and now my bench is looking pretty good. Most of the things that I wanted to get set up are now completely set up. I think Lantern's good on energy. Hydreigon will be good on energy in a couple turns. Zekrum's good to go, so the instant this Cleffa dies, assuming I don't draw into anything fantastic, you know, I can bring in Zekrom, we'll just be good to go. Now, what I'm not paying attention to at this point in the game is my deck size. I have been bleeding myself really, really dry in terms of just everything I've been doing, and that's not good. That's not good, especially this early in the game. If you look at, you know, his card stack size and then you look at mine, his is a little bit bigger, and I think I'm at like 10 cards or something like that right now. But I'm still asleep. He can't do anything because Weeping Bell and whatnot, but he does attack, try to discard a card, and he gets it. So going to go ahead and go for Engineer's Adjustments, and that might seem kind of stupid because I'm drawing into all the stuff. I just really want to draw into more energy to get it into play, you know. But I don't have any way of putting cards back into my deck other than junk arming a Super Rod. I do have one in this deck, but I have not used it yet. Otherwise, I probably would have been doing that at this point. But Clef is stuck in that spot. You know, I'm asleep and all that shit, so whatever. It works. What do we got going on? He puts on the back the Magby, which I think has a Poke Power. No, wait. I'm thinking of Torkoal. My bad. Torkoal's the one where you put it down from your hand and it has a chance to burn. But if you look at my deck, or if you looked at the deck size right there, I'm not doing too hot. So what I got to do, I have to take 6 prizes in 8 turns, or assuming I draw into my Super Rod, that'll get me a little bit more time. But I've had, you know, this is all the time that I'm going to get in terms of setting up things. I can't really get too greedy. I don't know, I was just trying to draw into cards, and then I was also just kind of waiting for Cleffa to wake up. I think that was what was happening right now. Since you can see, I only have 15 in my discard pile. Like, over a third of my deck is probably in play right now, in terms of my hand in that, and then, I don't know. looking at his side of the field, I have killed off something, but he hasn't really gotten the opportunity to set up as much as he'd probably want to. Hydreigon's not really working out in this game, which is a little bit disappointing, but the game still does end up being pretty good. So he does get the heads on that, so that means I'm paralyzed and poisoned. What I'm going to do right now, though, is, since I can't really do anything, I'm just going to go ahead and put energy down on electric. And I wish I had a way to discard those energies from my hand, but he's not going to do that because he knows what electric does. I've actually played this guy, a couple times before, so it's not like he's bad at the game or anything. He's actually pretty good. I played him with the Gengar deck, and he ended up having to leave. But yeah, good guy. So switches out, decides to go into Sawsbuck to finish off the job because Nature Power does 20 plus 10 more for every grass energy in play. So if you're against an enemy grass deck, then they're helping you out. Now right here, I'm looking at what I have. I think I ended up losing a bit of energy off of what I had in play with Lantern, but I can get it back with Electric in a couple turns. So thinking what I can do here. I also have that Stadium card if I want to get that energy back in my hand for whatever reason. But I'm going to go ahead and junk arm out the Rare Candy and the Dano and get myself a catcher. Now, what is wrong with this turn is that I should have captured out the Petalil, but I instead decided to capture out the Magby, thinking that'll be an easy kill. The thing is Petalil will be an easy kill too, and then thanks to Berserker Blade, I can kill off the Magby on the bench because it has less health than... Well, what Berserker Blade does is it does 60 damage. You choose 2 on the bench, and then it does 40 to both of them. Now, if you saw how much health Petalil had, it had 60. So I could have killed off the Petalil with the initial 60 and killed off the Magby with the side 40, and I would have gotten 2 prizes in 1 turn. My tempo is still relatively good, but my deck is still running a little bit thinner. So if he tries to catch or something out or do some paralysis poison stuff, like how this deck is known to be doing, then that'll be a problem. So I don't know. He's got the Sawsbuck in play, and then he gets an N. He could shuffle out both of our hands, but he knows, actually, you know what, he does it anyway. That's actually a big help to me, because I don't think I have any Professor Oaks anymore, and that puts cards back into my deck, which buys me a little bit of time. Plus, I get a catcher, so if I need to manipulate things, I have that option going for me. Unfortunately, Hydreigon dies, and, at least that energy is available for me to start putting on stuff, but I don't have anything left to put it on. Like, I think, I had a Zekrom earlier, and I don't know what happened to it. So, as dirty as it is, I'm probably just going to have to use my Electrics to start doing damage, because I'm running out of options here. Outside of this Zekrom, my Clef is not going to be doing any damage, trust me. So, 3 energy for 50 is really inefficient, but you got to do what you got to do sometimes. So, I'm going to go for the Bolt Sprite? No, that sounds like a really good drink. Anyways, I draw into my Super Rod, which is actually really good, because that will buy me a little bit more time as well. But I put some damage onto myself, and he does end up... what does he do? I don't remember what he did there. Oh, he uses Black Belt first off, which I don't think I've ever actually seen that card. But no, wait, yes I have. But when you're running low on prizes lower than your opponent, you do 40 more damage with your hits. So he does 60 and confuses me, and I don't know what I'm going to do. But I'm going to use Super Rod right now to put 3 things back into my deck. I decide that the best thing I'm going to need something that can get set up really quick, like in like 2 turns. So I do have the Chinchou, and I have the Zekrom, and I have the other electric energy, just in case, I don't have as much in my discard pile as I'd like to think that I do. But depending on which one I end up drawing into first, I don't have anything that will let me draw into stuff unless I were to use Burn Tower and Engineer's Adjustments, but that is time I don't really have right now. So I decided to catch her out the Bellsprout because it has less than 50 HP, and I'm going to use Electric's abilities just to, get the Zekrom on the bench set up again, owing to the retreat cost. But Electro Ball is going to kill it off, and I have the 2-4 lead, so to speak, I guess, if we're talking like in golf terms and stuff. But he sends in as a Celigor. Now, a Celigor is cool because, if you don't remember this from my my grass deck, it only needs 1 energy to do 60 damage, and then, that's just really good. Like, if you can get it set up really early on in the game, but he didn't, if he'd captured out my Tynamos and stuff like that, then this deck's efficiency would have been ruined. So what he decides to do right now is he goes into Victory Bell. And this is actually a very good play because of Victory Bell's Poké Power, which will make it so my retreat cost is 4 instead of 2. So what I can do right now I'm a little bit limited on options. I can go for the burn tower, and then I do draw into an energy. This is a very, very important turn in terms of what actually ends up happening. But I decide to use, you know, fucking engineer's adjustments and hope I draw into another energy, and I do, and I'm running really low on cards right now. But I'm going to go ahead and PCOM out for the Zekrom because I know it's in there somewhere. So, looking at it, I got a fucking 6-card deck right now. So, put down the Zekrom, and then just decide to put some energy down on it. I do this little thing right now where I wasn't really thinking about Victory Bell's Polka Power, but I can't retreat right now. So, I go through the whole Dynamotor motion, and I'm like, okay, I'm just going to retreat after this, and then that will be fantastic. But turns out I can't, and I'm looking, and I'm like, what the fuck, my retreat cost is only 2. And then I look at it and I'm like, oh, I got to get out of here. So I have to undo everything and then put that energy that I put initially on Zekrom. I have to put it on Electric. So it's not going to be as efficient right now, but I do have the second Zekrom on the bench, which is able to Outrage, and that will be able to kill off the Victory Bell. So I do get that into the lead spot, decide to use Dynamotor to set up the second one on the bench, and then we're looking pretty good. So as soon as that first Zekrom dies, I can send in the second one, and then, you know, 2 prizes from there, cakewalk. Assuming he doesn't get lucky with paralysis, coin flips, or anything like that. Plus, I drew into a... Actually, no, looking at the card size, the hand size, that probably wouldn't help me if I were to try to use Professor Oak. The best thing I probably could do is just bring in Cleffa from there and stall for a little bit, just keep shuffling out, you know, same amount of cards. But actually, that wouldn't really work either, because you have to draw 1 every turn. Well... Maybe. I don't know. If you had 7 and then you didn't use anything, you kept drawing the same 7 or the same 6, I suppose that could work for a while. But the point is that I'm all right now. I mean, he can kill off this Zekrom, you know, with this, but he does recognize that the other Zekrom is within setup range, because all I have to do is I can just send in the Cleffa, you know, use Dynamotor to put 1 more energy on it, and then just Bolt Strike whatever he has out for the win. So that is actually going to wind down the game. That was a good game. If you guys enjoyed it, you're welcome to leave a like, rating, comment, subscribe. Do your thing. A little bit of a weird narration. I don't know where my head is this morning, but just put down an extra energy since I actually ended up getting it anyway. But, you know, got that placeholder Cleffa. And just going to go ahead and Bolt Strike for the win. So, I'm looking at my desktop. I have 5 other games backed up. Actually 6, but one of them I'm gonna put 2 of them into one video because they were kind of short. But I have technically 5 games, so I guess you guys just tell me what you want to see next. If it's this one, I'll have to go record another one. But everything else, I got at least 1 backed up for you. So, let me know in the comments, and that'll do it out of me. I will see you guys later.